Welcome to the September 28th, 2017 episode of Reactive Consciousness, the in-depth podcast about what happened this week in our lives. I'm your host, VyseTheBold, and this is...
Lotus Prince.
And this is PyroJackFrost.
Yeah. Oh, man. So, I'm really excited for this episode because I think the primary focus is going to definitely be about your what you did during your absence, and I'm really excited to hear about this.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about it too. So, for the past, I guess not past now, but for 10 days I was in Japan. There we go. That's it. Good show, everyone.
All right, so Vice, what were you going to talk about today?
Well, you see, I stayed at home for the last 10 days, and actually I didn't, but that's besides the point.
But yeah, no. So it wasn't just Japan, but it was overall probably like 12-day, 11-day trip. Sorry.
Don't keep us up.
That jet lag.
So
hits
it was
hard.
like the jet lag. There's like a story in and of itself about my jet lag. But yeah, it was like an 11-day trip. So it started. There was a day of just travel. We went to first went to Guangzhou, China, which is actually where both my girlfriend's parents are from. So we spent 2 days there, seeing some sights, meeting family.
Every time you ate, did you want more food 15 minutes later?
No.
Oh. All right, then carry on.
Do both of you know what dim sum is?
Oh, I love dim sum, yeah.
So, we had that for breakfast basically both days, and both lunches and both dinners weren't dim sum because dim sum is just breakfast basically because small meals, but it was basically the same idea with just tons of plates of things that we shared. So it was a lot of food. So there's no way I could have been hungry 15 minutes later.
Actually, my favorite restaurant in Philadelphia is a dim sum restaurant. It's a Jewish Chinese fusion restaurant, but
interesting.
So it's unleavened dim sum.
No, it's really fantastic food. Just like a lot of dumplings and that kind of thing.
Dumplings with etrogs on the side. You get many etrogs.
What's an etrog?
It looks like a lemon, but it isn't.
Is it owned by Changberg and Gold, some other Asian last name that I don't want to be too racist? But yeah, so we were in China for 2 days. That was fun. There were a lot of interesting sights that we saw. We climbed up a mountain, and on the way back down, it was pouring rain, so that was less fun. But the thing was that when it started raining, it sucked. But once I was already soaked, I was like, this is fun.
Yeah, you didn't have to worry about getting soaked anymore.
Yeah. So that
you can't get wet if you're already wet.
Yeah.
Well, it's like when I'm.
Oh, I got wet.
Yeah, it's like when I'm running late to somewhere. Like, I get more and more stressed the closer and closer I come to missing the deadline, and then once I miss the deadline, it's like, well, it happened.
It's just like overeating. It's just like, oh, well, I'm past 2,000 calories. I might as well just eat as much as I want.
So we had 2 days there. We went to like a museum, the mountain. Overall, it was really fun. It's my first time to China, so that was a good experience. I do want to go to Hong Kong though, and like Beijing, because this is like a big area, big city, but not one of the more known ones, I would say.
Did you have a hard time getting around or anything?
I was with my girlfriend's family, so they directed us everywhere, and there was quite a bit of enough English that I think if I was by myself, I would have done okay, maybe not amazing.
Oh, really?
Sure.
But I think that also from people I've talked to, at least in this city, people are more likely to either know English or be willing to talk to you in English if you were lost.
By the way, here's a fun little like trivia fact about Beijing. Did you know that they have some of the most honest hide and seek players in the world? Because it's no peeking. Until next time, everyone.
I wanted to see how long we could hold the silence, but then I realized that our
we do have
listeners
listeners.
Like, wait, did this stop?
Yeah, are we still good?
Anyway, so then the next day after that was a day of travel again to Japan. So we went to Kyoto first.
God damn it, Lotus.
Yeah, still kicking in.
No. We went to Kyoto first. We spent like 2.5 days there. The great part about it was we were in a hot spring inn. So we picked one that had actually private hot springs in the room.
Oh, neat.
But both nights I went to the public one. It's one of those things where, like, you know, it's a little like I'm gonna have to be naked in front of like all the other guys who are doing it. And at first I was like, I don't know if I want to do this. But once I went in there and once I took my clothes off, I was like, I'm not gonna stare at them, so I'm pretty sure they're not gonna stare at me.
That's the thing. Yeah, it's a different social context.
Yeah, but it was really nice actually. The first time I was there again was a little uncomfortable, but after that and after soaking there for like a half an hour, I'm like, I have to come here again the next night.
Nice.
It was amazing. I did get to try out the private one in our room, but I don't think it was as good as the public one.
Yeah, my girlfriend wants to go to those when we go. I'm a little apprehensive about it, not because of that, the nudity aspect, but I hear that some of the places have like a lot of them have like a restriction against tattoos, and she has like a couple.
So from what I've heard, if you have tattoos, like you're probably like a gang member. Like I think there are some places that I think there are some places that are more willing to accept like tourists,
foreigners.
Yeah, like if you're Japanese, not gonna.
They know that we're not yakuza.
That's the thing. If you're Japanese, you can't take that risk. But if you're some random like white guy from the States, it's like okay, like
you never know. But anyway. The one that I went to was actually not like heavy tourists. There were tons of people who were coming from all over Japan, but they did have people who spoke English. Mm-hmm. But I would even say to email them, like, and to find out, because the other thing is when we got there, we got like a little list of like do's and don'ts in the public hot spring, and one is like don't wear a bathing suit.
Oh,
and it's not necessarily that you can't wear one; it's more that you'll definitely get looked at.
Interesting.
Because like it's not culturally appropriate. So it's kind of a similar thing with the tattoos. Like some hotels might actually not let you for the fear of the yakuza thing, but I think most of it's gonna be just if you are okay with getting stares, then it's not that big of a deal. But yeah, I would say
I couldn't give a damn. I just don't want either of us being thrown out as something that we paid for. You know what I mean?
I would just say that might be something that you email them ahead of time and just say, is it all right if this is the case? And if they say no, then you just don't give them your business and find another one. They can be expensive though. Like for this one that we stayed at was like $160 per person per night. But so it comes with the hot springs. There's like small arcades, which were not really anything, so don't make it seem like it's really cool. I played pachinko once, and that was basically what I did there. They didn't have any other, like, they didn't have rhythm games. They didn't have really much of anything.
I've actually seen a couple episodes of Game Center CX, and they go to that, they like the game centers at the hot springs, and they're usually just like a little spot for kids, essentially.
Well,
you know?
It's either for kids or for like after you've soaked, you go and just relax, because it's the whole idea of relaxing after you soak. But the other cool thing about this place was we were provided dinner and breakfast.
Oh, neat.
That's pretty cool.
Both nights we were there. And these were like amazing. Like I have pictures that I could show. It would mean nothing on the podcast, but I could show you guys both pictures if you're both free when you come over the next time. But it's like lots of food. It was amazing. Like they're all like it's not like I don't want to say it was a lot of food, but like a lot of different food. Like you come and there's like lots of small dishes that you eat, and then you eat that, and they bring more in. So it's just like it was really cool.
It was a really good sampling, you know. It wasn't just, you know.
I wouldn't even say it's a sampling, though. I would say could be a usual meal. It's just that it's not the ones that we're used to when eating Japanese food, is what you could say.
Sure.
So that was really nice. So there was 2 nights of that. And then when we were in Kyoto, like the first night was a lot of the historical places and temples. So we went to like one of the biggest temples in Kyoto, I always pronounce it wrong, Kiyomizu-dera, I believe it was called. It's really cool because it was built on a cliff.
Oh, neat.
So that was really nice. This is like my 3rd time going to this one. So backstory, when I was in college, my senior year of college, during what was it? I took a course that started in December for like a preview kind of what was going on. And there were 10 people in my class. The 10 of us went to Japan for 10 days and met with 10 Japanese students to do this little class we were there for. But then after that, they came over for like 3 weeks because it was like a sister college. So Rutgers' sister college is one of them, if not the only one, is Ritsumeikan in Kyoto. So that was why we were able to do that. So that was my first time there. Then after I graduated from my undergraduate, my friend and I went to Japan for like 2 or 3 weeks. So this is technically my 3rd time going. So some of the things I saw were like my 2nd or 3rd time seeing it, but it was still really fun to see it because there were things that now that I was there with a different group each time. So like the first time I was there with was a bunch of people that were like kind of like you could say school based. So that's the lens I was looking at it. And then the second time was with my friend, and that was a whole nother view of that, I would say. And then this time was with my girlfriend's family who hasn't been there. So I've seen it. So now I'm seeing new things that I might not have noticed the first time.
Cool.
So we went to that, and it was like a walking tour that we did. We were by ourselves. It wasn't like we didn't go with a tour group, but we walked through a bunch of temples and shrines in Kyoto, and that was like the whole day basically. So this whole trip was a shitload of walking.
Yeah, okay.
Like my feet would hurt even the days that we weren't walking. My feet hurt on the plane ride home. My feet hurt the next day.
Yeah.
It was just.
Did you get a lot of blisters and stuff like that too?
I didn't get any blisters because we were smart enough to buy new sneakers a few weeks before we went. But if I didn't have those sneakers, it would have been pain.
Yeah. So, me like a dummy, when I went to New York last weekend, I wear boots all the time because I just like my boots, and that was a stupid move because we walked everywhere and I got insane blisters on my feet. Like I was in serious pain. Actually, the morning of the second day, like it was that bad. After one day of serious walking, I like destroyed my feet. So I had trouble walking the first couple days of the next week because of it. So. Yeah, don't be like me, kids.
Yeah, if you're gonna go
get a comfortable
to a vacation,
pair of sneakers. Yeah.
If you're gonna go on a vacation that you think there's some walking, I would heavily recommend buying sneakers. Or if you have a pair, great, but bring your sneakers. Like I had 2 pairs of shoes, which were good because that day that it poured in China, I'm glad I had a second pair of shoes to wear the next day while the other pair dried.
Sure.
But here I was glad to have my sneakers, and I would have my other pair like if we were going to go out for a short period of time or for whatever reason. So yeah, the first day was all the shrines and temples. Then the second day was, I'm not going to look at my itinerary because I wrote up a whole itinerary that we followed basically the whole trip, but was Kyoto proper, I guess you could say. We went to the Imperial Palace.
Oh, neat.
And the Nijo Castle. The Nijojo,
that's awesome.
You could say. And a few other things we saw. There was like a marketplace we walked down. Then we got some time in the actual city. We went to a Starbucks. We went to a McDonald's in China.
Really?
It's one of those things like, we were going to, but we kind of didn't have time because all the meals were planned with family members. But when we were in the airport, we went to McDonald's. But it's one of those things that I know it sounds stupid, but I recommend going to what you might consider an American fast food or chain at least once when you go to a new country.
It's apparently very different.
Just to see how different it is and see what might be unique about that country's version. Like the one in Japan, the Starbucks, like they give you menus if you are there, if you're looking long enough, so you have it right there, so you don't need to look at the board behind everyone.
Yeah.
And there are a few other things I would say were unique, but I can't, like more teas, less coffees, I guess you could say.
Sure.
Makes sense, yeah.
So that was the second day in Kyoto. And then the third day, the third day in Kyoto was all basically just our trip to Tokyo. And so yeah, there are a lot of travel days because if people aren't aware, it's basically a 14-hour flight from the US to China. And then it was a 4 or 5 hour flight from China to Japan. So there were big portions of our day. But the cool part about our trip from Kyoto to Tokyo, this was my second time, but we rode a Shinkansen, which is the bullet train.
Oh, neat.
Nice.
Which is just really cool. It didn't seem as special this time. But just the whole, and because it was nighttime, so you couldn't really like see how fast you were going. But it's just still really cool riding the bullet train. And because so like if just like look at a map, we went from Kyoto to Tokyo in like 2 hours, which it's a long stretch. And the other really cool thing about our trip to Japan, and again, if you're going to go to Japan, I recommend getting it for a long period of time. There's this thing called the JR Pass, the Japan Railway Pass. Only foreigners can get it, and you can usually only get it outside of Japan.
Oh, wow.
So you have to get it ahead of time, but what that means is you can ride any JR and all but 2 Shinkansen lines for free as many times as you want.
That's nuts.
Oh, wow. Yeah. How much is that?
It was not expensive at all. Like, let's say that it was $30. It was definitely worth it.
Damn.
Oh, wow.
So if you're gonna, I think it's, you have to pay for you have it only for a set period of time. So we had it for 7 days. So actually, our last day in Japan, we had to pay because it already expired. Because you can't pay per day. It's like 7 day. Is it basically weekly? You had to get it for. So keep that in mind. But if
you didn't want to get a second week, yeah.
Yeah, if you're gonna be there for even close to a week, it would be useful. Like if you're only there for 6 days, I think it would be useful as well.
Sure.
I mean, like
also get a Wi-Fi box.
Like considering the train near us, it's like $30 for like a round trip to New York from where I live, like for one round trip. So like that pass sounds more than worth it.
Japan is a little bit cheaper, I would say, but still, yeah. What was I gonna say? Oh, also get a Wi-Fi box. That was very useful for us. Basically, it's a portable Wi-Fi.
Oh, great.
A lot of Japan has free Wi-Fi, but you never know.
Yeah.
And the other cool thing was when we got to Tokyo, we found an Airbnb. Now, so this makes up for the expensive hot spring inn. It was $24 per person per night.
Wow.
Well,
that's nothing.
Okay. And
it came with like enough space for 5 people. It had a shower, it had a toilet, which were in separate rooms, so you don't have to worry about sharing that. They had a Wi-Fi box that you could borrow. So basically, based on this trip, I know that every single time that I go to another country, I'm going to do, or even another state, I think I'm going to try to do an Airbnb. Just because it's actually, thinking about this now, if we can find an Airbnb for MagFest that fits like a lot of people, that might not be a bad idea.
That's
but anyway, so we got to Tokyo. In Tokyo, we were there for 4 days before traveling home. One thing I will say that I really like about Japan's, there's a few things so I don't know if this is just because I either like Japan or dislike some of the New York subways, but there were really cool things, like a few really cool things I want to mention about the Japan railway system, which you could equivalent to the New York City LIRR or NJ Transit even. Not the subway system, because the subway system is not JR, so we couldn't ride the subway without paying. So one is there's what you can consider 2 sets of doors. So the train has doors, and the platform has a door. I know because suicide was a big thing. I don't want to say a big thing, but was an issue in Japan. So I think that might be why they have it. But it's cool because they can use that the doors and the walls on the platform to give you information when you're on the train.
Oh,
I see.
To like show you where you are and what's in either direction. So that was really useful. Also, I want to say that the JR lines were built after like they had a lot more time to plan their infrastructure than the US did. So that's probably why theirs is better. They have a lot more signs and a lot more videos in the train to let you know where you are, where you're going. So like the New York City subways, let's say, or even the NJ Transit, they'll show you what the next stop is, and that's basically it.
Yeah.
And maybe what the last stop is. But on the JR, they have a video that shows you like all the stops.
Okay.
That you'll be going to, what the next stop is, and especially with the subway, how many minutes. No, actually, this is with the JR. How many minutes it will take to get to each stop.
Nice.
Because they run on time. Also, the trains always stop at the exact same spots on the platform, and actually on the platform they tell you where the doors will open.
Oh wow,
neat.
And how many cars it's going to be, and which car you're going to be on, based on where you're standing. So they give you like all the information you could possibly need.
That's really cool.
Really, really nice. Plus, every single platform has like multiple places you can buy stuff, which is cool. Like, at least in the subway, there's maybe like one spot on the whole platform that you can buy snacks. But here, there's like everywhere. Japan really loves its convenience stores. I will say that. Oh, what else? There's so many things. But that was the cool things about the train, I would say. So I'll kind of summarize the 4 days, and then you can kind of ask me any questions you have about any of those. So the first day, we went to there was a zoo and a park near where we stayed. It was like a 15-minute walk, so we went to the zoo there.
Did the animals make different onomatopoeia?
They did not.
Yeah, all the cats say nyan over there.
So we went to the zoo. We went to what they call the Tokyo National History Museum, which was just a huge museum that we got to see like 2/5 of before we had to go because it closed. And we went to the Tokyo Skytree, which is like basically think of the Space Needle. It's really tall and it had a great view.
Is that Tokyo Tower?
No, Tokyo Tower is basically like red Eiffel Tower.
Yeah.
But this is different. This is taller than the Tokyo Tower.
Oh, really?
The Skytree, yeah, and it has a better view and more to it than the Tokyo Tower. So then the second day was our Akihabara day, but it was also our Tsukuji market, which if you don't know is like the fish market. But we got there too late to see the fish, and it closed at like 2. It was really weird because we got there thinking we'd have time to like look around, but it closes at 2. So we were able to get lunch, and then there was like nothing else to do. And then we went back to Akihabara, shopping, arcades. Our third day was give me a second here. We went to the Ghibli Museum. So you don't know Studio Ghibli.
I would love to see that. Yeah.
It was a cool museum. It was smaller than you might expect, but it was more the spectacle of it than the actual exhibits they had, let's say. So that was cool. And then after the Ghibli Museum, we walked past the Imperial Palace, but it was so late that the current Imperial Palace, but you can't go in because the actual Emperor lives there now.
Oh.
It's only open.
This is my house.
Dude, guys,
the grounds are really only open twice a year. So
okay. Gotcha.
I feel like there's something I'm missing that day, but that was the 2 things I remember that day. And then the 4th day was the Tokyo Tower, and the best part about the Tokyo Tower is not the tower itself, because we had a better view at the Skytree, but on the 2nd through 5th floors of the Tokyo Tower is the Tokyo One Piece Tower.
Oh, yeah.
It's 3 floors of like an indoor One Piece amusement park.
Oh,
That's
neat.
amazing.
It was really cool because there was like a live show that was written by Oda and had 2 new characters.
Oh, I heard about that.
It was very, very well done. Like, I recommend if you're going to go to Japan and going to go to Tokyo, it's like $30 for it. So it's a little expensive, which is still cheaper than probably most American amusement parks. Yeah. But I recommend checking it out if you are a fan of One Piece, because they have that special. So actually, let me rephrase that. The amusement park is only $10, but the show is an additional $20.
Okay.
But it's definitely worth it.
The thing I want to do is I want to go to that robot restaurant.
I heard about it, and we didn't go to any of those like special restaurants or cafes.
I'm sure.
Actually, that's not true. We went to one restaurant in Kyoto, I believe it was, that was called Fire Ramen. It wasn't because the ramen was spicy. It's because they put stuff in the broth, like a lot of green onion oil, that right when you go, like the first thing they do is you have to wear basically an apron, and you have to cover your chest and your legs, and you have to put your arms behind your back because they pour some hot oil, boiling oil, into your ramen, and it like it shoots fire. And so that's really cool, and it tastes amazing. Like it like flash fries it kind of in a way.
Nice.
It's really cool. We went to other like theme restaurants. Like we went to the One Piece themed restaurant at the tower. We went to the some other special places, but overall it was just it was restaurants that were nice. And we passed by some cafes. Like we went into the Gundam and Final Fantasy or Square Enix cafes, but really all it is named food that doesn't look anything special, and a store that you can buy stuff related to the cafe. And then we passed by a dog cafe because it was near where we were staying, but really it's like $10 for the stuff there, and then you have to pay like $15 if you actually want to pet a dog. Per hour, or like per half hour. So it was cool, but I wouldn't say it's as cool as some people make it out to be.
Sure.
So yeah, the One Piece Tower is the thing I want to talk about the most because it's 3 floors. There's, like I said, that special show. We went to the cafe there that had like themed meals. I had the Frankie burgers.
Was it super?
They were amazing.
Nice.
They were super.
Frankie burgers? I'm missing
Frankie's
something.
one of the Straw Hats. He's a cyborg.
Yeah, it's a red bun. It has like half egg salad, half burger on each one. It's really.
Is there
good.
like a star?
Egg salad.
Oh, I get it. Is there like a star drawn on the bun or anything?
I don't remember seeing that.
Okay.
Because I started eating it and it was so tasty I didn't even like look at it.
Nice.
I also had the Brook drink, which was like chocolate and vanilla.
Was it ice cold?
It was ice cold.
Hey!
And it had a chocolate musical note on it. That was pretty cool.
All right.
And like other people who were with us had like there was the Zorro burgers, which I'm upset there weren't 3. There were only 2.
Were they like green, like lots of lettuce or something?
Yep, they were green.
Hey.
The buns were green.
Hey.
Someone had like the Chopper pizza. Someone had that was like
I don't know what that would be.
Mainly vegetables because he's a reindeer.
Okay.
Someone had like the Luffy pizza, which was lots of meat.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Nami's drink
was
is
oranges?
Tangerine.
Oh, tangerine. No, that's right, tangerine. Yeah.
And then someone had the Zorro drink, which was you had 3 straws.
There it is.
They were held together. Yeah, they were held
awesome.
together by like a paper thing that made it look like they were swords.
Okay.
Oh, neat.
So that was really cool. So it was really cool. Like they each had like 1 meal, 1 dessert, and 1 drink. So you could technically have 1 character for your whole meal, which is really cool.
That's fantastic.
Cool.
And so in the theme park, each character had their own little activity. We didn't do all of them, mainly because like Robin's one was you get a Denden Mushi, and you had to like scan things for like clues to the next one, but we were afraid it was going to be in Japanese, so we wouldn't be able to like, do anything.
Yeah.
Plus, my girlfriend and her sister were with me, but their parents were waiting outside because they didn't know anything about One Piece, so we didn't want to like spend another half hour to an hour in.
Vice, just for context, because you look a bit confused. Just for the sake of simplicity, it's a phone. Let's just say it's a phone.
It's a snail. It's a snail phone that talks.
Yes. It's called Mushi because like the way you say hello is like moshi moshi when you pick
Mushi Mushi. Yeah.
Nami's was a casino, but we didn't get the chance to go in that. Zoro's is you have like you have like a Wiimote basically, and you have to like cut cannonballs as they fly at you.
Okay.
Sanji's was the cafe, basically the restaurant.
That makes sense.
That we went to.
Yeah.
Chopper was like a tour of the Thousand Sunny or whatever the new one is.
Yeah, Thousand Sunny.
Which was really cool because there were like different things. Like a few neat things about that. At one point in time, you go into the girl's bedroom, and they warn you beforehand, like, don't touch Nami's treasure. and like you see a treasure chest on the floor, and I didn't think about it when I wanted to, but I went to like try to open up the treasure chest because there's things you can interact with, and if you touch the treasure chest, you hear Nami scream at you. You're like, hey, like, why are you touching that? Like, take your hands off.
Pretty good.
And then like after that, you go into like the large bathroom, and like if you look through a porthole, you can see like a silhouette of Nami showering.
Of course.
But if you get too close, she like notices you and like tells you, like, calls you a pervert. And whatever, and like on the other side there's like a little, like a smaller peephole they can look through, and she doesn't notice you, but if you look through that, it senses you, and she notices Brooke is inside the shower with her, and she kicks him, and like a black afro falls in front of the peephole.
Nice.
Like her
That's
knocking
pretty
him out.
good, actually.
Yeah, and there's like several other things that were in that were like really cool that you could interact with. For Usopp's activity, you have a slingshot, his slingshot, and you get to hit Marines.
Okay.
And then like once you hit all Marines, like another thing appears, and there's a prize, but none of us were able to get it, and we didn't see anyone who did because it was actually really hard to aim that thing. Who am I missing? Brooke was a haunted house that wasn't really a haunted house, but it was just like a silly, like you had to carry a salt ball through the whole thing and put it in a zombie's mouth at the end.
It's like,
but it's funny because
that's like a Gecko Moria thing, not even really a Brooke thing, even though it's
you put it in the zombie's mouth to purify him. But then when you leave the haunted house, that same guy's there, and he yells at you saying, like, "I'm not a zombie. Like, what are you doing?"
What about Frankie?
Frankie was kind of lame, I would say. Like, his main one is basically you have to pay $5 to get a prize, but it's like using one of his machines. Basically, that's what it is.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say I would have expected Frankie to be the guy who like gives you the tour of the Thousand Sunny.
Well, it's because it's Chopper's birthday, and they're making they're preparing for his birthday, and so he said he'll show you around the Hello Sunny. The Thousand Sunny, yeah. While like they're preparing stuff. Also, Frankie had like these other two things where you press buttons and something happens, but it's really just his nipples light up or his crotch lights up.
And does his hairstyle change when he touches his nose?
No.
Does he say Robo?
No. So Luffy's, I forget what Luffy's was.
Oh, and by the way, Vice, that really is a thing. By the way, that's like those are features he built into himself.
Yes, that his nipples light up and his crotch lights up.
That's not even a joke.
You should read One Piece.
Yeah.
I forget what Luffy's was. Am I missing anyone else?
Okay. Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, Chopper, Nami, Frankie. Did I say Robin? Brooke.
Yeah, Robin.
Brooke, Usopp. Okay, I think you got him. Yeah.
And there's like other things there. Like it's not just the attractions. There's like a lot of things in it, but that's kind of the crux of it, are all those attractions. So that was really cool. So yeah, that's the overview of the trip.
Nice.
Did you while you were at the arcades and stuff, did you have anything in particular that you really enjoyed?
Not really. I'll be honest with you. It was kind of funny because we have Round One, which also, if you two aren't aware, that's a Japanese company.
Huh.
Sure. Thank you. You reminded me. The other thing we did after the Ghibli Museum, we went to Odaiba, or the Diver City Plaza, which was where we went to see the life-size Gundam statue.
Ooh, hey.
Oh, neat.
Which was now Unicorn. It was not yet finished.
I was going to say, it's not finished yet.
So let's put it this way. It is finished in terms of the whole Gundam is there.
Okay.
But
the detail's not there?
If you know anything about Unicorn, it transforms. The head is supposed to transform, actually transform.
Oh, jeez.
But they didn't finish that. So we got to see it in its normal,
it's still really cool.
What you would call Unicorn mode. Yeah, which is still cool. But also there is the Gundam base, which is just like shitloads of Gundam models that you can look at and buy. So that was what we did. And there's a Round One there. That's why I reminded me of this.
So was it like because it was a Japanese Round One, was it like mostly like American arcade games, and it's just like, whoa, how exotic?
No, it was a similar layout, but what they do that's different that I actually didn't like was, you know how at Round One they have all the machines, or you could pay for unlimited pass.
Yeah, sure. You pay for time, but you can't swipe your card within such and such a time of having swiped it, so you can't take all of your friends, just go like da-da-da-da-da with like 100 machines.
the way that this round one did it was there were basically like, let's say 2 floors. One floor was the pay as you go. The other floor was the unlimited, but you have to pay to get into the unlimited area, and you can't play the unlimited games with a free play kind of pay as you go, and they were different games. So I didn't really like that because I couldn't see what games were in the other area. But anyway, when we were in Akihabara, the arcades, like, back to what I was trying to say is like, we have round one here, and I was like, I wish that there was a better selection at the round one, like more Japanese games. But when I went to Japan, it was basically the similar layout. Like they had Gunslinger, they had Gunslinger Stratos, they had Theater Rhythm, they had other rhythm games, they had Dissidia, but like the new arcade one. But at the same time, like we're getting that on consoles, so I didn't need to play that.
Right.
Sure.
And the other thing that disappointed me a little bit was most games nowadays in the arcades are 3v3 fighting games. So they were like 2, like, I don't know if you either you remember, but MagFest 2 years ago, there was this mech game that I played for 5 hours.
Yeah, you loved that game.
I loved that game because it was kind of like you against the computer. And that was one of the options. I think you could play against other people, but it was you against the computer.
This wasn't Virtual On, was it?
No, it was Old Man Zombie's gonna correct me again and remind me what it was, but I don't remember what it was called. But anyway, like I really loved that game, and I was hoping I could find a game like that. Maybe not that game, but a game like that in Japan. And there was a game that I thought was like that, where you have a robot, a mech that you control, and like 2 other mechs, but the only way to play that game is against another set of 3 people, basically.
Yeah.
And there was like another game that I played that was the same thing. It was you and 3 people, you and 2 other people against 3 people. So I found my mech games, but they weren't the mech games that I enjoyed playing. So it really ended up the most games that I played, the game that I played the most was just Theater Rhythm, which I can just play around 1.
Right.
So it was a little disappointing, but actually, in a way, it's good because it means that I don't need to go to Japan to play arcade.
You're not missing
games.
much.
I just go to round 1. Yeah,
that is true. Oh, by the way, this is getting a bit tangential, but when I was asking if it was Virtual On, this is just a really quick aside, but I heard that
they're making a new one.
Okay, no, I did not know that, and that's freaking awesome. But what I was gonna say was that we had done a whole reactive about Yakuza Kiwami 2, which is the remake of Yakuza 2. Apparently, in the arcade there, like in the arcade within Yakuza itself, there'll be Arcade Perfect, I believe, Virtua Fighter 2, which
neat.
I mean, well, Yakuza 5 already has that, but that still is neat. But apparently, it'll have Virtual On as well, which is like, what? They've never gone in that direction before, so that just makes me happy.
Yeah. So no, actually, to say what you're talking about, they're making a new Virtual On that is a collaboration between Virtual On and a certain magical index, which is an anime. So basically, think it's Virtual On, but what if all the pilots were magical girls?
That's the one thing I thought I was missing, so now my life is complete. Don't you agree, Vice?
It sucks because like everything Japanese that I like is getting infected. Yeah,
Vice, you better buy your like sparkly pink Virtual On arcade stick for this.
It's like Otomadius. They won't make a new Gradius or Parodius without bullshit in it.
That's another good point that you had to mention. Is I was hoping to find. I know that Otomadius wouldn't be in the arcades because
it's an old game at this point. Yeah.
But the thing that I liked last time I went to Japan was when Otomadius was big, and that was cool because it was like an arcade shooter that there was progression with. Like the reason why I like the Theater Rhythm and like Groove Coaster is because there's progression. Like
sure, and you have a memory card and all that.
And that's the reason why I like that game at MagFest, because if I had the card and it was connected to the internet, there's progression.
Yeah, that
really
feels
new
good.
mechs.
And same with the music games.
I customized the mechs. So the 2 mech games I found had customization, but the gameplay wasn't fun for me because I'm not a huge fan of fighting games. Or fighting games that don't have a single player mode that I can improve upon. Like I don't like the thing that I liked about the old Dissidia, not that I've really played it against people, but there's a single player game that you can play against harder and harder computer opponents, and there's like a story to go through.
Yeah, that's different.
But like the new Dissidia, they are I've heard there really is no, like, there's a story, but you only get it by beating missions, like against the computer, against players, but not like a robust story, let's say, like the original Dissidia had.
Sure.
The same with these two mech games. Like, there's not a single player component that at least I could find by playing them to improve upon myself. It's just like, here's how you play. You play against other people, and however well you do is how many coins you get that you can use to unlock new stuff for your mechs to improve yourself. And it also makes it like unbalanced, let's say, too, because you're buying improvements to your mech. So
like, yeah, the
you
more
could
you
suck at this game,
the more you lose, and the more the other guy wins, the better his mech will be, and the same yours will be.
So it's, I can tell, I know it's an arcade, so they want your money, so it makes complete sense. But I think I would have enjoyed at least one game that was not a rhythm game in the arcades that had progression that was single player. Let's put it that way. Whether it was a shooter,
makes sense.
a shoot 'em up, or like a fighting game even that had good single player and progression. But anyway, that's my answer to that. In terms of what I got, that's another question that people might be wondering.
Sure.
I didn't really buy as much. Let's put it this way: I didn't buy as many things as I expected, but I spent a lot of money. So I got a lot of souvenirs. I will not say that all of my purchases were for myself, but majority of them were. I don't know if you've heard of Assembleborgs. I have a few of them. So you know what Revoltech is, right?
Yeah.
Revoltech,
your company.
Yeah. So the same guy who made some of them, who actually is the creator of Trigun, Yashiro Nitro or whatever his name is. But anyway, he made this line called Assembleborg. The basic idea of it is that you can create your own figures. So they give you the figure and extra joints, and also their body parts have like extra holes in them, and they expect you to buy multiples of figures or all the figures and create your own figures.
It's a clever idea,
and it's really cool because they're a little robotic, so it doesn't feel like you're like killing a person to create a new one. It's like they're more robotic. Like, for instance, actually, I've seen the second Assembleborg that was ever made was a motorcycle, but it was actually composed of many different parts that other people were taking to turn into like a mech, or like combine with the main guy. Like, for me, I have those two, but I also got the two. There was like a second version, let's say, like a redo of the line called Nexus, which starts at number 20. But I bought him and his robot pal. But I turned his robot pal into like a jetpack for him / like
that's rocking
gun pack. So like it's cool because you can combine them. So anyway, I bought like 7 Assembleborg figures there, which cost me quite a bit because they're like $50 each. But what happened though, I only was gonna buy 4 of them, let's say. But our last day, we went to a store that just happened to be like the Revoltech store.
Oh wow!
And there were two. So let's put it this way: there are the two new characters are, I hate to say this, but Moe girl figures, right? And I bought one of them because I wanted to collect them, right? But when we went to the store, there were 2 chrome versions of them, which is important. They're not metallic, but what's important is they look more like the other characters. So I'm like, shit, like I already bought this one character, I really don't want another version of her, even though it's chrome. And I was like, I shouldn't buy it, I've already spent enough money. My girlfriend and I went to eat dinner, and I'm looking on the website because that was the Revoltech store. Those 2 chrome figures were store exclusives.
Oh no.
So I went back and I'm like, I guess I'll buy them. And while I'm buying them, I might as well buy another one that I didn't have. Yeah, so the other thing was that I wanted to mention that I bought are, I mentioned on Corrective Consciousness that I've been getting really into Grand Blue. And it is really big in Japan in the sense that they have tons and tons of
merchandise and stuff.
Merchandise. I'm not going to go as crazy as Mr. Ryu does with Miku. Like, I didn't buy any keychains or body pillows or figures, but I bought 2 manga that were in Japanese, but they have some what's called furigana above the kanji, so I'm going to try to use that to help teach myself Japanese. And what's called the Grand Blue Chronicle, which, again, I can't read it, but it's cool because it has like some artwork from the game and descriptions of different characters and like scenes.
Yeah.
But the big thing about it, and this is going to be a problem for me, is they both come with codes. They all come with codes that you can put into the game to unlock stuff.
Oh, nice.
Meaning, I have Grand Blue Chronicle 0, and there are 11 of them so far. So I need to buy the other 10. Also, the music CDs come with codes, but I don't think I care enough about it to buy the music CDs. So
Jesus.
I thought it was really funny, though, because another merchandise I saw there were the body pillows, and I don't want the body pillows. But
they come with the best codes, though. Wait,
even better than
that.
Oh, yeah? I picked up the body pillow just to show my girlfriend about how silly it is, because like the girl on the body pillow has the face like, of
course,
don't touch me kind of face. But then I turned it around. It comes with a voice CD of the character.
There we go.
So you can like hug your body pillow while listening to her voice.
That's creepy.
But I want to say like those were really all I bought, but it was still like a lot of things that I ended up buying, or a lot of money I spent, and a lot of, like I said, souvenirs for you guys and other friends and coworkers.
I'm excited to see this. I know we're hanging out probably on Saturday, so
Saturday or Sunday. So we can talk off the air. Sunday might be better.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll definitely like go through what I bought and go through the pictures that I took and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But
nice.
Any other questions about my Japan trip?
Did you go in any of the retro stores, like the Super Potato or Friends or anything like that?
There was a Super Potato in Akihabara, but I really didn't get a chance to go in it. Which, when I first saw that it was there, I was like, I need to find time to go in there, but it just didn't work out. So
sure.
I need to actually write it down to make sure I go to it next time I go to Japan.
I hear it's just a fun place to go to,
Yeah.
If anything, it's just kind of fun to see all that stuff.
I'm not as big on collecting old games as like you are, so it might be cool. Like it might be cool for me for like a few minutes, like half an hour. I think there's some arcade cabinets in there, but it would still be interesting to say that I've been into one and just see what it's all about.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, I'm less about that kind of stuff anymore either. I mean, I don't. I mean, doing what I did at Classic Game Junkie this week was far from usual. I hardly ever buy games anymore, like old games anymore, because I basically tapped out. Like everything that I want or would want is like hundreds of dollars now, and I just don't have the desire to buy it.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's one of those things like I can afford it, but like why?
It's like this is a similar idea. So, I was looking at some Nendoroids, which if you're not aware, they're like super deformed, like cute.
Yeah, they're kind
figures.
Of like the Japanese version of Funko Pops. I think like a little higher quality.
Kind of. And there's like they're more customizable too. Like actually, we went to a store that you could customize your own faces for your
That's
Nendoroids,
cool.
And because each Nendoroid comes with 2 faces, they also sell like. Let's put it this way. Think of a costume, but there's no face in it, and you basically just put the extra face in the costume.
Okay.
So like, even though you have your character, you can also put their extra face in a costume, which is actually really cool. But anyway, I was looking at Nendoroids, and they have like a JackFrost one, which if you're not aware, this is my favorite character in the Mega 10 universe.
Wait, what?
But it's a really old one, and if I really want him, it's going to cost me like $150. And it's like, I really want JackFrost Nendoroid, but not for that price.
Yeah.
It's just gotten to the point like I'm even just like taking a look at my old wish list. I have like this one like on the Hardcore Gaming 101 forums, which I hardly ever like go to even anymore, and it's like man, like Super Tempo, that's like a $400 game. Like, do I want that for $400? No.
Yeah.
Like, it's like Hyper Duel, like, like, I guess maybe what's poisoned me is, like my ROM carts and stuff like that. But at this point, like, it's like, do I want a mortgage payment? That's a video game. Come on, it's too ridiculous now for me to get the games that I want. It used to be fun because you find one that you really wanted and it was like $60, you know. Mm-hmm. It's just like not like that anymore. The collecting market is too ridiculous. In fact, like a lot of times I feel like I want to sell some of my like big titles, you know, because of it. So it's just, that's the way it is with me. But I still want to. I still, it's kind of like vestigial, right? You know, like there's like a used video game store over there. I know I'm not going to buy anything, but I should go to it.
Yeah, as soon as like.
Yeah. I see that whenever I go to like it's either board games, trading card games, comics. Like or like games, I always want to like step inside, and I look in there, and I'm like, "Why am I here? I'm not going to buy anything."
It's just like it's like going to a toy store. It's just like I remember wanting to go into these places, but now that like I don't want any toys.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. It's like I'd rather go there than like a clothing store, but like I'm not going to buy anything just the same. So like I'd rather eat. Like to me, like the places to go to now are just like restaurants and bars. I guess like something that I'm interested in stimulating. Getting stimulation this way, you know, it's just
stimulation.
Oh yes. But did you have any final remarks here?
No, that's it. It's all up to you two. If you have anything else, if you want to pry out of me.
Yeah, I don't know. I might be kind of out.
Yeah, I think I asked you everything I wanted to ask you.
Cool.
Did you have a good time?
I had an amazing time.
Nice.
And I hope you both get a chance to go and have as good, if not better, time than I did.
My girlfriend and I are thinking about going next year. We have a couple friends that also want to go next year, so really looking forward to doing that. Maybe even Lotus. Maybe we can.
Yeah, I would love the opportunity because it's getting to the point where like I'm one of the only ones of my friends who hasn't gone to Japan at all, and some people have gone like multiple times. I'm like
I've never gone.
Scheduling just never lines up for me.
My retro gamer was also thinking about going next year, so maybe we could all coordinate and see.
Yeah, that would be amazing. I mean, based on my school schedule, like at least when I would be good would be like winter breaks to spring break, summer break. Those are like very specific periods, but
they're also probably the most crowded times.
I know.
So I would recommend getting tickets early.
Of course.
If you know when you're going to go, because they'll be cheaper. Because if you wait longer and closer, it's going to get really
worse
expensive.
And worse. Yep.
Like plan everything out as soon as possible.
Mm-hmm. My girlfriend really wants to go during the Sakura season, so that's also another popular time that a lot of people want to go. So
very popular.
Yeah. So we'll see how it works out. I'm sure we'll be happy either way. I'm not going to be disappointed in going.
I would say if you can't go during soccer season, there's probably plenty that you can do to make up for the time you have.
I mean, I want to go to Osaka. I'm sure that's a whole trip in itself is going to Osaka.
Yeah.
Nagoya, I want to go to a lot of different places. So like not just Tokyo, and Tokyo is such a massive city. Like even a week there is not everything. So I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully it'll be the first in a string of places that we go. And I also want to go to Italy, of course, and go to the motherland. But I haven't just had a chance. There's so many other things to do. So
yep.
All right, well, having said that, that's the show for this week. Please remember to subscribe to the Corrective Consciousness YouTube and SoundCloud pages. While there, please give us thumbs ups, likes, and 5-star ratings on iTunes. It helps us promote and spread awareness of the show, and any bit of encouragement helps keep the show going. You can also catch us on Tuesday on our sister podcast, Corrective Consciousness, the podcast about our lives and pop culture. Finally, you can friend me as VyseTheBold on Steam, PSN, Xbox Live, and Twitter.
And you can follow me on my YouTube channel, Lotus Prince. You can hit me up on Twitter at Lotus Prince. Or, if you want to get in on some of my videos early, watch exclusive live streams as they are recorded, or even select upcoming games for me to Let's Play, then maybe consider swinging by my Patreon, which can be found at patreon.com/LotusPrince.
And I'm PyroJackFrost. You can find me. Wait, I'm actually going to say something this time. PSN, Steam, as my moniker, or Cloud08540.
Nice. All right. Well, we will catch you on Tuesday.
Until next
Catch
time,
you on the
everyone.
flip side.
Glad to have you back, Pyro.
Mm-hmm.